Okay, we are live. Let me just set up my screen sharing here so I can show you guys about the dark patcher. I'm going to share an actual full screen, so ignore the mass of shitty icons all over the screen. Just give me a second here. Try to set it up. To add quick screen capture. Is it screen capture or is it display capture? Yeah. And now I want the other screen. There. All right. I hope this will scale down for you guys to be able to see it better. All right. Perfect. So I'll go from the start. My setup is slightly different to most people's, but I'll explain how it works. So on my desktop up here, you can see I have the patcher, I have the EverQuest 2 EXE, and I have DarqUI. I have two. This is my live server, which is the EU server to me, and this is my I call it my IOR one. Back when I used to do a lot of trading, this is basically the same game patched to the US servers, and it is patched to US servers, but they have separate UIs and separate settings. So what I'm going to do is, when you start off and you download your DarqUI, you get your exe, DarqUI Unified.exe. First thing you want to do is find your EverQuest 2 patcher, which should be on your desktop, and open file location. It'll tell you where your EverQuest is. Mine is in Z EverQuest 2 because that's the one on my SSD. Because there's no performance difference between an NVMe and an SSD. Yes, a mechanical drive will suck, but the two of those are way faster than you can pull info off it. It won't change zoning times. So in here, you'll have your EQ2 to EXE. This is where EverQuest is. I think on a default install from a patcher from scratch, it'll automatically know where the game is. But I'll open up my patcher here, and I'm going to tell it where the EverQuest is that I want to patch. So first thing I'm going to do is go down to Files, and this is my UI folder for my second game. So I have Z, EverQuest 2, UI, DarqUI. So it knows this is the one it's patching, and it can actually open two darks. And if I open the first dark, it'll show a different location to show it is patching my live files. So you can have as many of the launchers as you want, as long as you keep them all to the same version. They have totally separate. Save locations, I guess, for their configs. I don't know where that is, but if I look at my other one here, we have C2, which is my NVMe drive, and speed-wise, there's no difference. I just like to not have to patch to go between the two servers. So again, we're going to load up DarqUI here. I'm going to go to Files. I'm going to tell it where your EverQuest folder is. In my case, as I said, it was in my Steam games, my EverQuest 2 folder, and in there, it'll ask for the UI folder. So we have UI and Dark, or just UI folder. You don't have to tell it Dark. Spell suggestion is not important. That'll autofill on your first one. Your backup will back up to the same place, and activity log will be fine. So I know that this one is out of date, so I'm going to check for updates. And it's going to say, hello players, you're experiencing. This was a patch from a good bit back, so mine is quite out of date. It should check here. Yeah, and I have a bunch of stuff out of date, and some that require patching. That's how old my other one is. So I'm going to patch those files. And I'm going to load up a brand new character with a brand new UI to show you which is the important windows across all different classes. Some have slightly more priority to some windows. That's it. And while you're at it, what you should do is run your EQ2 map patcher. I run a separate patcher. Well, this one should actually do it for me. So, here. This should be looking in. There you go. Mine might be broken. Okay, mine's broken in this case, but yours will work straight away. It's probably because it's looking. I'm patching one folder and the config was originally in a different folder. If you don't want to use the maps this way, you can use the actual EQ2 map patcher, which you can see up here. Strike down here. And I have this currently patching my live version. So it's checking now, which is on my C drive. And it's all done. I'm just going to get it to patch my new one. And now I'll switch it back. So I'm just going to patch my other one, which is in my Steam Games EQ2 folder. I think that's all it asks for. Oh, it needs that. Okay, there. So it knows the new install path. Let's check in. Yeah, so it's all. It's all Isle of Refuge. So I know it's the right one for me. So sure, that's all okay. And it should update a bunch for my new server. Yeah, so it's pulling down all the new stuff that my American patcher hasn't done because I haven't run it. Okay, so I'm just going to switch this back real quick just to my default one, which is my C EQ2. So I don't forget to do it next time. Just quick check. Yeah, so there's not an update there. Right, so that's the map, which I suggest getting the separate map patcher if you really want. It doesn't really matter. I think there was an issue with this a while back, but I'd say it's fixed now. All right, so I'm on a Z, which is my American patcher, and I'm all up to date. Great. There's one thing, if you are a, what's it called? If you use a really big screen, you can see these guys here. They have a little setting. There are different options for each of the UI elements. So the web browser, I actually prefer to go light on the web browser. And in chat, tabs on bottom, tab on top. Be handy if you want to change where that is. There is fonts, extended player. I'm looking for maintain spell monitor, and I want that on standard. And I don't think I need to change anything else here. Spell suggestions, no. All right, so I'm just going to patch again. So it's going to patch those two files I told it to change. Okay, done. Now, what I'm going to do is launch my, I'll go from the start, so I'll go from the patcher. I'll do my my EU US patcher. It'll pop up here now. Sorry, I wasn't watching chat. Okay. It's not gonna. I don't know. Will it patch? No, it won't patch. There we go. Because it's still pre-patch time right now. It's gonna go play. And when it pops up here, I'll load I'll make a brand new character. And I'll show you the most important parts, or the most common important parts of a UI setup. One cool thing about Dark is for buffing classes and any class that has buffs for other people, including healers, it gives you quick casts for the most important stuff, and it's super, super handy, as well as quick cures. So I'm just going to bring this up here. Oh, thank you. Coffee appeared. I'm going to switch back to my EQ2 here. So it'll bump you straight to character select in here. These are all on different servers. Caladem. I'll just make a brand new one from start just for a demo. Create new character. Oh, not hero. Get out of that. Standard character. So what you'll be doing on launch, you'll be going to progression, but I'm just going to do traditional just for now. To see the new server, you're going to have to go progression on your patcher. I'm just going to make a... what's the easiest? I'll do Bard because it's the most complicated one. Not complicated, but it needs the more bits and pieces. So I'll go Bard Dirge. And male for Tonga, because you'd be silly to be any other class. And I'm going to start off straight in Overlord's Outpost because it's the only place where I know where things are. And we'll call him UI Test. Play. Of course, no one's taking that name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this and share the VOD to where we need it. So it's going to load in here. I'm just going to jump straight into the UI stuff while it's doing the boat tutorial. All right, so you have the brand new character. First thing you can do is close that. Then you've got this weird window up here. I don't use these. It's like a hotbar quick buff thing. On all DarqUI interface sections, you'll have a little blue square on the top left of each of them, which opens the settings for the individual window. So I'm going to open the settings for here, and you can see it's the icon bar. I'm going to untick show at login, save it, and you have to save each action. And I'm going to toggle it so it disappears. And then we're gone. Right, I don't use that one, that's fine. I'm just going to use the standard 1080p. Where is it? 1080, 1080, 1280. I don't see 10. Doesn't really matter, I suppose. Just do that one. There, so that's the kind of default DarqUI. That's the map. Close that. This is your target window. So, the bits you really need. You're not going to need this little thing here. You're not going to use it very often, so I'm going to close that and get that out of the way. It's going to toggle it. And I'm going to untick show and save. It's the gear buff macro. That's gone. This is your main health, and these dots here are your concentrations. As a bard, you can max out your concentration. Some classes don't use concentration, some will only use a handful. Now, as you can see, I can't move some windows. Some I can, some I can't, some are clicked through, so it drags the stuff around. What I'm going to do is push F10. F10 will show all windows on screen and let you move them even if they're locked. Okay? First thing I'm going to do is... that's the server coming down message. Will be coming down in an hour and a half. This is your maintained buff window. We're going to talk about that in a minute. This guy here is your frames per second and your lag. That's F10, 11. You can turn it on and off if you want. Top left is quest. You have a compass on the top. You have your in-game time. And you have your current target, which is top left. If your current target has a target, it'll come top right. So what I'm going to do here is the important ones. This is your live stats. You're not going to need this so much, but it'll be handy for just getting the best out of your DPS as you can. So I like to have that down in front of me here. When you open up DarqUI, you get a pre-populated text window, which is this one, where you have your tells, your chat, your OOC, everything like that is already split out into its own little tabs, which is really nice. You can detach tabs and move them around. So if it wanted an NPC to be somewhere else, you can drag it out and put it somewhere else. Like your tells. If your streamer doesn't want to show people their tells, they can drag their tell window and put it back in here. You can drag your tell window out and put it underneath your camera. Something like that. Nice and handy little thing. Right. First things, this big one on the left here is your maintain spells. Right now I don't have any maintain. Oh, I might be able to show you. I do have a maintain spell. I can turn on stealth. I'm going to turn off this for a second. So if I cast stealth or shroud, you can see up in the top left here, it says shroud, 12 hours left because it's currently maintained, as well as down here because it's an active spell, as well as your membership bonuses, and you have mail, food and drink. So up here on the left is your maintain spells. It's where you can see how long is left on things and what's running. It's super important, and it's nice to leave it up at the top. I suggest making it just small enough so it doesn't pass the border, because with things like healers, it'll show how many hit points are left in a heal, or how many ticks, how much of a ward is left. One that you always have to have up is your group window. This is you here. You can see the boxes under it. I'm just going to make that bigger because that's going to be 6 people, or 5 people in you. So put that somewhere nice and easy to click on, usually to the left or wherever you want. And it's ugly right now, so we're going to change that in a second. This is also an ugly window. It's your auto attack timer. I'll show you how to make that better in a second. And this is your main target or implied target window. So you are looking at this guy. If he was targeting something, it'll be here. You can change that down to small or leave it big. You can make it taller to show hit points. It's up to you if you want to use that. I don't use this window. I use I use this one here. I usually make this guy a bit smaller and use that. So I'm actually going to hide this one here. No, it's the other one. Can't remember where it is. I'll leave it there for now. Okay. So we have group window. We have live stats, which we can edit, add and add stuff to. We have your own hit points. You can make that as big or small as you want. I usually have it about this size. And it also has quick things for away from keyboard, looking for group, anonymous, looking for work, and roleplay. What we're going to do now is make Windows a little bit prettier. We have the auto attack timer here. So when I'm fighting, it'll show how long is left before my auto attack swings. I'm going to go Window Settings. I'm going to go frame and title bar none, and normal. Where is it? Background. Backdrop opaquency none, and the frame and title bar none. So it's still there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's out of the way. I'm actually going to just drag it down here. Still see where it is. But it'll be out of the way. It's not going to be in front of me. You don't really need to see it, and I'm going to make it smaller. It's not super important. But it'll still be there. You just can't see it until you actually go fighting. So I'm going to save that. Same thing, group window, window settings. Turn down the frame opaquency and the backdrop. There we go. And you can actually also make it click through enabled, which means when you click, you're not clicking it, you're clicking the game behind it. Makes it a lot easier on clicking things. This guy here again, same thing. I'm going to go window settings, drop these down, click through enabled, and okay. I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to move that down here. Where is it? And make it short, F10. Shorten it out. Because I don't particularly need it that much. I'm just going to leave it up here in the corner. So I use this one most. This guy up here. Things are already starting to get out of the way. It's looking a bit cleaner now. We'll do hotbars last. These guys over here, you have detrimental spells. You have spell effects. There are 2 other hotbars. Okay. Spell effects you can make bigger. There'll be quite a lot of spells when you're in group. So I like to make that big and put it over to the side. Then detrimental spells, it's pretty good the way it is. What I like to do is, again, go into the DarqUI settings and make the icons a little bit bigger. And close it. So if you get poisoned, or you get a curse, or you have revised sickness, that all ends up in this detrimental spell window. You don't see it until you get something in it. So if I died, I don't know if I can jump up the side here. No, I'm just going to teleport straight to Freeport real quick. I'll kill something and I'll show you what I mean. Freeport. No, that's far out. How come we can't read DarqLight with Freeport? Okay, I'll attack the guards here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a very important window, even though it's quite small. So, I'll show you the auto attack timer as well. So, they're down here in the bottom right, you can see my auto attack. Primary hand, secondary hand. And when they hit, it swings. That's all that is. Okay. So that's auto attack. It's out of the way. You don't see it unless you're actually swinging, so it's not stuck in your face. Just going to go over and hit these guys here so I can show you what a detriment looks like. And then I'll show you about the casting bar. Alright. So I'm dead. I'm going to revive. And I'll have res effects. There. So now I can see my res effects, which are hidden most of the time in my detriment spell window. So you can see I have res sickness for a little while, which is less stats, 20% stuff like that. So if you don't have something, you don't see it. That's why it's nice to keep this hidden the whole time. And I'm just going to change the background on this guy here. Windows settings. Drop down the background and the outside. Oh, did I move another window? Window settings. Oh, why is that coming back up? Shouldn't be back up like that. Anyway, it looks cleaner like that, so I'm just going to make it small. Because that's you. That's your health and stuff. This is also your health and stuff up here. With the map up there, what else am I just moving out of the way? I need to get the map up here. Quest window can be made bigger because you're going to have a bunch of quests at the start. Right. So, this window here, I want to talk about before we do anything else. But first, I've got to change it so it looks pretty. Okay. Now, you can't see it, but it's still there. So, we go F10. You hit the blue button and brings up its options. I don't like the way it's looking, so I'm just going to do those stacking tiles. Right. So, right now, what this window does is, let's say you're a Troubadour or Dirge, and you cast a buff on the group. Like, Dirge gets Cacophony of Blades. When you cast that, it's up in the group for 30-something seconds, then it falls off. But, so you don't have to be looking at the small little windows or the maintain window for a small icon saying, oh, okay, it's done now. What you can do, you can add it into this maintain spell monitor. So I'm going to add the second line here. The only one I have that can stay on is stealth right now. So if I examine the button, can't do it in F10. If I examine the button I want to use, it's called Shroud. So the name is Shroud, or OUD. And that's all I want, just the name. So when I cast Shroud, there's Shroud in my maintained. Let me just F10 so you can see where it is. You have Shroud, and you notice 12 seconds. There's 12 hours left in it. If it was a heal or a reactive, you'd say 3 triggers. If it was a ward, it would say there's 7,000 damage left on it. If it's a temp buff, it'll say there's 30 seconds left on it. So it's quite easy to keep a track on your important spells in this window. And it's hidden, so it's not in front of your face. And when I cancel it, it goes. It is also down here, which is really hard to find in all the icons, and it can be also up here in your maintained. But it's just right there, and it's not too hard to see. That's what I like about that one. This here is your... again, I'm going to change it so it's not super ugly. There. This here is your... now, you're not going to have 45 fervor when you create a new character on launch, on very soon. And here, you basically monitor different abilities. So, your important abilities over there are going to be your casting speed. I don't think there's any reuse speed. Potency and crit will be the 3 you're definitely watching. So I want to say, right, I want to keep an eye on my crit, because there's going to be no crit bonus yet. And you can set a warning that if it's less than 10, it will flash red or something like that. Or if you want to cast a certain thing when your crit is really high, it'll say if crit is 100, flash. So you'll know you have to hit your big things then or something like that. So now down here we have crit, which is absolutely 0. Until I do get a stat that has, or an ability that gives me crit. There we go. You can see my actual crit is still 0 in this window here. Crit chance. And crit bonus is 255. Wow. So that's your stat window. Now, hotbars. I have a whatever, the quad HD screen, so it's 2K. The hotbar bars are quite small. So I'm just going to F10. Drag this one up here. And what you want to do is, these are part of DarqUI, but you use the in-game settings on them. So right click and hotbar settings. In here, you can change the size of the hotbar buttons. I like around 40. You can do the spacing between. 1 is fine. And you can change it if it's a primary bar or not, and the type of text you want on it. Which is the names and stuff like that. You can add a spinner, so you can switch which hotbar is on your main bar. Sometimes you'll accidentally spin it out, and that's the easiest way to bring it in. Icon borders for empty ones. And I'm going to show the spinner there again. And that's fine for me. So now that is a much more usable hotbar. That's auto attack. So that's good and big. What I'm going to do is... there's 2 invisible hotbars over here. I'm just going to close these and show you. Close hotbar. Close hotbar. Close all the rest of them. So you have one hotbar, you want more. You have it where you want, that's fine with F10. Get it set it up for yourself. You right click and you go open new hotbar. There it is down the bottom. Same thing, it's gone super small, so I'll just go hotbar settings. I'm going to bring it to 40, which I know the other one is. And I'm going to bring the padding to 1 just so it matches it and apply. So I can put it underneath it. And then you have a second set. So if you wanted your run speed, so I can't drag anything off this bar at the moment. If you go into options, into hotbar settings again, you can tick allow draggable icons. There, and you can drag stuff to other bars. If you, like me, like there's a lot of stuff you're not going to use there. You're not going to use call to home and set recall point a lot. What you can do is you can open a new hotbar and you can change the shape of it. There we go. Whatever shape you want, really. And just put it out of the way somewhere, which you're not going to use an awful lot. I'm just going to make it visible so I can actually see it. Hotbar settings. It'll be window settings. And I'm going to just make it easier to see for a minute. Okay. So I'm not going to be using call to home, and I'm not going to be using set recall point. So I'm just going to put them out of there, out of the way. So then, I can't use any of these till I get to a city anyway. Like buffs, your main stances, stuff like that. You can put off to the side because you don't ever have to recast them. You just gotta click and forget. And the rest then you can stack underneath or wherever you want. You can put hotbars over here for potions. You can drag potions from your bags and put them onto hotbars to use them. Stuff like that. So I'm just going to settings. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger because it's quite small. Make it 35. And I'm going to show icon borders and allow draggable. I'm going to go back into Windows here, Window settings. I'm going to put everything back to default. There you get a better idea. So if you have the bar, if you prefer the grid, you can show the grid in the window settings. If you don't, you can turn it off. And you've a bunch. Close hotbar. If you close a hotbar and you actually have stuff of, if you close a hotbar, there's stuff on it. You can easily open it again. You're not going to lose your config. Open your hotbar. It'll bring it back. There's 10 hotbars in total, and you can rotate through them all. You're not going to use 10 at the start, but you will use 10 later on for sure with the amount of stuff. I don't need this as big, so I won't have many maintained at the moment. So I think that's a pretty clean UI. I think nice. You don't have to have all these chat tabs. It's up to yourself. As you go along, you're going to get a bunch of stuff. Like I'm going to, just for, I'm going to show what happens when you level up. I'm going to go to the, it's not the Oval Plains. I remember the name of the place I'm thinking of. They move stuff around slightly on the maps. Plane of Magic. I'm just going to do a quick location quest that'll show you the amount of stuff you get. It'll bump me up a few levels real quick. Now you can't do this on Varsoon, but I'll show you what I mean. And you can do things like your mount buff, you can drag to a hotbar. Same with your, there'll be no mercs, so there's no mercs around it. I just want to talk about the casting bar now in a second as well. But I just want to level up here real quick. Am I out of mana? No, I'm not. Sprint. Where is it? There. I'm just going to do these teleporters real quick and it'll level me up and I'll show you the differences. Start at the bottom. You're thinking to yourself, what the hell are you doing, Ziggy? You're just going around in circles. I am just going around in circles. But I know where I'm going. If you go here and run all after the teleportation pads, you get an XP boost. you get an XP boost to level 17. Right. So now I'm level 17. I'm going to start getting a lot of stuff. Like bards get, there we go. That's a group AE until cancel spell. That can go over here. And there we go. You can see it's up here in my maintained, and it's also down here. If you don't want to see things down here, you can right click them and you can, oh, actually you have to go into your options, your self options, and go options and enable spell filtering options. And you can hide things from down here. So let's say I don't want to see my thing down there. You can hide the effect. And it's hidden. It'll still be up here, and it'll still be in your maintained, but it won't be down here anymore. There you go. There's another one you can only need to cast every now and again. That's an important one. Put that down here. So you can do things like grouping your abilities. That's encounter, green. That's another buff. You can move these down here because we don't really need them up here. Stealth. It's another buff. Just to keep things clean. Another buff. And you see as I'm buffing, I'm using concentration slots. That's another buff. And you have some back attacks, some stealth attacks. That is another self buff. And we have control effects. So you can, already you're starting to see the top bar is nearly full of normal attacks. You have some range attacks, so you can keep your range attacks in one place. This attack heals you, so you could put the two attacks that heal you close to each other so you know where they are. Just moving stuff around so they're easy for you to reflex to. And you want to put your abilities that you do most damage close to each other so you don't have to move your mouse so far to get it. And you can also make macros, but that's a whole other video because there's a bit too macros. And then as you level up, spells will replace other spells. So Songster's Luck 2 is already there. They don't need that guy. Tracking, like you're not going to use tracking all the time. So what you can do is, I need another, I can go open new hotbar. I can just put it over here out of the way. So I can find it, put it right underneath there. And I can drag my tracking to it there. So I can, my tracking's not there. I don't need it on these hotbars. Hotbars are your friend. Use them as long as they're not too cluttered. So you have a nice big view. Everything's kind of out of the way. Your XP bar is up here at the top. You can move it to the bottom if you want. I think it's F10 again. There, you can snap down to the bottom. And on Dark, as well as your maintained here, you can set up your bar here to monitor your stats. So I can say Noxus, I want to record, tell me how much noxious mitigation I have. Multi-attack, haste, DPS, all that stuff. It'll freeze for a second as it does this when mine does. It mightn't happen on everybody. There. So right now it shows me I have 226 noxious resists. Yeah, that is pretty much how you set up the thing. The only one I want to show you is cast bar. Very important, and it is going to be up all the time, and it's good to know when you're finished casting. So you can't see your cast bar unless you're casting something that's quite long. Like if I cast Shroud, you can see it's up here. Now I'd have time to right click on that. But what you can do in Dark is on the, am I still in editing mode? Yeah, there. There's a window manager down here beside your start button or your EQ button. And you can go to cast bar. You can show a sample, which shows you where it is in the world right now. And you can move that sample to where you want it to be. You have it down there nice and tight to the rest of your hotbar, so it's not kind of in the middle of your screen. You're not going to accidentally be clicking on it. And that's your cast bar out of the way. Everything you do, every buff you cast, even your mount, when you cast it. Oh, I don't have a mount to show you. Everything has a cast bar. And your casting speeds reduce how long it takes to cast everything. That's your heroic opportunity. But that actually, yeah, I put. But that's just an example of how to use your spell monitor, how to use your maintained. Where it'll pop up here now when I go stealth. There it is. My maintained shroud is there, so that's running. I know it's up. your detriment window, which is hidden until I get a detriment. You get a detriment by giving one of these guys a kick. Oh, maybe there's no there is no. Yeah, definitely kill myself down here. So when you get a detriment or a slow or a debuff, it'll show. File back up here. Show you a detriment. There, that's your detriment. Revive sickness. You don't need that window to be huge, but you need it to be able to fit a couple of things in it. Couple items. As I said, I like to have the detriments a little bit bigger. I'll leave it around 40 so it's easier to see. You want it to be kind of in the corner of your eye so you know if you get something bad. The UI itself is great. If you get a detriment on you that can be cured, if you have potions in your bag that allow you to cure it to the correct level, you can click on, like right now it has an uncured. Arcane cannot be cured. If it was an arcane that could be cured, I could click on it and it'll cure it from either an ability I have myself or a potion that's crafted from my bags, allowing you to do it. Same thing, if you're a healer and this guy here gets elemental, it'll show up here as a little fire icon. You can click on it, it'll automatically target him and cure for you. And it's very, very handy for healers especially, and buffing if you're a bard. I don't have any single target buffs here as a bard. I was going to show you how to use this to do it. I'm not sure if I can do it in here now. No, can't until I actually have an ability. But yeah, that's just a quick video showing you how to install and set up the UI to be kind of tidy and mostly hidden, because there's no point in seeing all this crap if you don't need to see it. You need to see a group window. It doesn't have to be that big. And there's also a raid window, which is Shift R. There's a raid window. It's mostly hidden anyway. Yeah, it's nice and tidy. Everything's out of the way. This will light up if somebody sends you a tell or whatever. Window settings here will allow you to set the opaquency or whatever it's called of it the whole time. If you want to have it not see through, whatever, click through. And all DarqUI windows will let you edit the window itself by going to the top left of it. You'll get the setup, the settings for that particular type of thing. Hopefully this will save someone a couple of minutes of headache when they're starting off on especially the new guys, when they're loading up Dark for the first time. But it is an hour and 40 minutes now to server down, and then it's like 3 hours to server up. I'll be streaming at the normal server uptime, which I think it'd be 6 or 7 GMT. I don't know if we'll be streaming the game because it might not be up yet, but I hope it is. It says 3 hours downtime, which is very, I think, enthusiastic for a whole new server start, but you never know. And what you can do then is, if you like the way this is set up, every time you make a new character, I'll just camp to a new character. I'll show you. Oh, here, one actual, let me show you this. In EverQuest, if you don't know the command for something, and you're good at Unix or Linux, tab commands work. So if it's like, oh, what was it, camp something? You can do slash and CAM and press tab. It'll show you all the camp commands. If you want to show something, show tab, shows all the show commands. Show your helmet, hide your helmet, show levels, show your hood, hide your hood, show backdrops. If you don't know a command, you can tab it. Just take a rough guess at it. And it should, like if I do quest or whatever, but you can do slash UI and it'll show you the different UI things. But one of the important ones is UI, it's load UI. So load UI will let you switch between default and your dark, which you'll have to do it each time because you're set up to automatically load dark. And you can also do load underscore UI tab settings will let you load your characters. So once you make and drop and put your windows where you want and you make a new character, you can just go down the list and find your character. In this case, it's UI test. Where is UI test? I have a lot of characters. There, UI test. I can load UI tests UI onto any other character, anywhere, any server, as long as they're running out of the same EverQuest folder. So that's load underscore UI setting will bring up this, and load underscore UI will bring up the main UI switcher. So that's it. If you guys need any help with anything, I will be streaming. You'll be able to catch me. You'll be able to get me through my Discord, which is on the Twitch page. And best of luck. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at server up. And don't play all night. You'll be tired in the morning. You got to go to work. Some of us have to anyway. Catch